Hello YouTube. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on how to perform the kettlebell clean. Now the kettlebell clean seems like a simple exercise, and it is, but there are many nuances that go into performing it safely and effectively. Many people have a hard time learning the clean, often suffering bruised forearms, torn hands, and sore lower backs from trying to handle an unforgiving kettlebell. And I'll admit, the clean was pretty tricky for me to learn when I first got into kettlebell training myself. And on top of that, it's pretty hard to coach because much like the swing, it's a ballistic exercise. So you really don't have the luxury of slowing it down and picking it apart during the actual performance of the lift. This means the learning sequence has to be set up in a step-by-step order that allows you to safely practice techniques and then combine those techniques so that your clean comes together safely and smoothly so that you can have a clean clean. Now the purpose of the clean is to get the kettlebell up into a strong rack position where it can then be pressed overhead or held in place for front squats and carries. A good clean is absolutely mandatory for a strong and safe military press, and the clean is a great exercise in its own right. It's got all the same benefits as a one-handed swing, but with the added challenge of stopping and stabilizing the weight at the top of each rep. The kettlebell clean is where ballistic power meets isometric tension, which is why we have to address two quick prerequisites before tackling the clean specifically. First, I recommend that you have solid one-arm swing strength and technique. The clean is not a bicep curl. The hips will be powering the weight through the whole rep. So it will behoove you to be sure that you can swing a kettlebell that's at least one size higher than what you want to be cleaning for at least 10 reps at a time. Second, I recommend that you are skilled in the bottoms up clean. The most important part of the clean is guiding the kettlebell vertically, all while decelerating the momentum enough to have it land smoothly in the rack position. The bottoms up clean, done with a sufficiently light enough weight, allows you to practice this bent arm zip up technique, all without having to worry about the bell crashing into your forearm or worry about changing the grip position. Now, once we have those two skills in place, all we have to do is get familiar with the rack position and get familiar with the nuances of switching between a swing grip where the kettlebell handle is held more in the fingers versus a rack or clean position grip where the handle is going to be deeper into the palm. So let's take a cue from Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by starting with the end in mind. And of course, the clean ends in the rack position. And that rack position is where the kettlebell is going to be stationary, motionless, on the back of the forearm, and that's the position from which we do our presses or our squats. Using 2 hands, cheek clean the kettlebell and nestle it like a big iron dinosaur egg in the nest of muscle formed by your bicep, delt, pec, and forearm. Stay tall with your glutes and abs braced. Your lat and tricep should be squeezed and flexing into each other, forming a single super muscle. Keep the elbow down and forearm somewhat vertical. Don't flare the arm. Instead, think about absorbing the weight into your entire body through your obliques. Keep the wrist completely straight or even slightly goosenecked in. From here, scooch the bell around until you find a relatively comfortable angle. The handle may be oriented parallel to the knuckles towards the center of the hand if you need to grip tight for strict presses, or set deeper into the diagonal between the thumb webbing and the pinky side heel of the palm. Do not let the kettlebell put you into a wrist lock. Racking or pressing with a bent wrist is by far the most common kettlebell mistake I see, even amongst fitness enthusiasts and fitness models. Once your rack position and body posture are in place, take a mental note on how everything feels, because you're going to want to recreate this feeling and these positions at the top of each clean rep. Again, we're working backwards here, so the next step to practice is the clean drop. And this is where we transfer the bell from the rack position into the backswing, all while transferring the grip from deep into the palm into the fingers. Simply open your hand and allow the bell to fall down the midline of your torso like you're unzipping your jacket. Resist the urge to cast the bell away from you. Instead, keep the elbow squeezed into your side as if the lat and tricep are Velcroed together. Remain standing tall until the hand falls below the belly button line, at which point you can begin to hinge the hips and actively push the kettlebell into the backswing. Until this point, the bell is in a controlled free fall. Because you open your hand at the top, you can now slide and re-grip higher with the fingers in the same grip that you use with the kettlebell swing.
Now, did you guys hear that slide? What that was a handle going from here to my fingertips. You don't want to catch here in the meat of the callus. You want to catch such that the handle is on top of the callus, not behind it and pinching.
Don't let the kettlebell yank you down into a squat. Really force the momentum backwards in order to load the hamstrings. From there, allow your arm to swing forward and set the bell down. Cheek clean the bell again and repeat this drill until you can quickly establish a strong rack position and smoothly drop the bell into the backswing with no pinching of the calluses. At this point, most of the hard work is already done. Once you're familiar with the nuances of your rack position and you're comfortable dropping the bell into the backswing, loading the hips, all while shifting that grip from the palm to the fingers, the rest of the lift should come together easily. To train your ability to quickly adopt the rack position without assistance from the other hand, we're going to do a power clean straight up from the ground. Stand directly over the kettlebell or even slightly in front of it. Load the hip hinge as if you're going to do a deadlift. Quickly extend your hips and stand straight up, keeping the elbow close, even pulling the elbow slightly back while guiding the bell up and into the rack position. Again, the hip power drives the weight. It's not a bicep curl. Drop the kettlebell into the backswing as before, park the weight, and repeat. Now you will probably want to use a slightly lighter weight for this particular drill because you won't be able to take full advantage of your hip power and momentum when you're pulling from a dead stop off the floor in that vertical pattern. And now we're ready for a full, proper kettlebell clean. And again, because we've been working backwards, the only step left to practice is the first one, which is the hike pass. Of course, because you've already been training your one-arm swing to this point, the backswing is old hat. And in fact, the hike pass into the hip extension, those first couple steps, are exactly the same as they are in the one-arm swing. The only difference is that now once the hips extend, you're going to keep the kettlebell close by keeping the elbow down and close to the torso, even pulling the elbow slightly back as you guide that weight up into the rack position. And that is the kettlebell clean in a nutshell. So once you're practiced at these techniques a little bit, mentally it's just zipping your jacket and unzipping your jacket. Simple as that. Now, what I might also recommend as a little bonus tip here is to elevate the kettlebell for the initial backswing. You see, for a lot of people, initiating a swing or a clean from the ground might put the hips in too deep of a position, requiring too much knee bend. So some people might find that by elevating the kettlebell a few inches on a block or a couple of plates might really help set the hip hinge in a stronger position, and of course, a stronger setup will lead to a stronger swing, clean, or whatever other lift you are doing. So I would encourage you to experiment with that, lifting the kettlebell just a few inches up off the ground for that initial setup. From here, I recommend practicing cleans in between reps of one-arm swings, as there is often a tendency to get slack with your hip extension when cleaning a weight. So by performing 1 to 3 swings in between every clean rep, you'll train your hips to stay consistently snappy. So let's wrap up with a few quick notes on the double kettlebell clean and your grip options. Using 2 kettlebells will necessitate a slightly wider stance, and by extension, your hip hinge range of motion might be a bit shorter. Other than that, all technique points remain the same. Many folks even report that cleaning 2 kettlebells is easier than cleaning 1 because of the symmetrical loading. Now, of course, we know how your grip ends up at the end of the clean, but your grip and arm orientation during the drop and backswing will have a big effect on how the bell rotates on the clean itself and how it lands in the rack. And here we have 4 basic options. There's the pistol grip with the handles parallel, 10 and 2 grip with the handles at 45 degrees pointing away from you, the barbell grip where the handles are held in line with each other, and then finally the V grip where the handles are at 45 degrees pointing back towards you. Each style will have pros and cons, and its suitability will depend on your build and your general preference. I'll encourage you to experiment to find out which style feels strongest for you, but do keep in mind that different techniques will be more or less appropriate as you move through different bell sizes. All that said, I generally recommend that lifters start off with the 10 and 2 grip, as that seems to allow for the most consistent lat engagement through the entire rep. One last technique tip: if you're familiar with the hardstyle swing, then you know how to power breathe to put some extra power into your hip extension. And that same breathing pattern can be applied to the clean as well. So that's a inhalation through the nose during the backswing to brace and pressurize the abs, and a forceful exhalation through the mouth timed with the hip extension to boost that hip extension power. A common mistake I see, even among kettlebell coaches and enthusiasts, is to actually hold the breath too long and exhale when the bell lands in the rack. You see this a lot with the snatch too, where the exhalation is timed with the stoppage of the bell as opposed to being timed with the hip snap. So do keep that in mind. The exhalation is used to power that hip extension, and if you wait until the bell lands, you've kind of wasted the opportunity to put extra oomph into your hips, and you're just kind of exhaling as the bell is, landing or maybe even crashing into you, which just further kind of destabilizes the whole body. So there you have it. The kettlebell clean is a tricky lift to learn, but well worth the time to do so. And once you do, it'll unlock a whole new level of possibilities for your kettlebell training. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope you got a lot out of it. And if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I also have an article version of this video linked below where you can learn even more about the kettlebell clean and pick up some bonus workouts along the way. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.